Why? Why do it? He's going nowhere. He is the best creative player in this division, and you are offering him up.
It's not a chance. From there, it's not a chance.
I tell you when it isn't a chance, Jimbo. It isn't a chance when Matey stood there with his back to our goal going absolutely nowhere. It becomes a chance because he's that good when Longwake pushes him over.
It's still not a chance. It's not. And unfortunately, Josh Keeley has left far too much space.
The fact that he scored it before, Jimbo, is why it is a chance.
Well, no, he didn't jump.
What's he there for then?
But he didn't duck. He didn't jump.
He absolutely turned his back and ducked on that.
He turned his back, but he didn't jump.
But why are we giving free kicks away when we can't defend the bloody things?
Yeah, but we have been defending really well.
No, we haven't.
In this game.
No, but the first half, Jimbo, he had a free header from a free kick.
Is it the final nail in the coffin? It's not quite yet because of the maths, but realistically it is.
21 wins is the minimum amount that a team in the top 6 has got in the last 5 years. Well, we've got to win 6 of our last 7 to get to 21. The Hatters derby finished 1-1 at Kenilworth Road on Saturday when we drew with Stockport County on an afternoon that offered an awful lot more than what it delivered. And alongside me to look back on that game is the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, all square, but feels like 2 points that got away.
Oh, definitely. Opportunity missed, isn't it? Again.
It is indeed, yep. We'll reflect on that opportunity, the game and everything all around it after this intro. Hello again everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast. This season the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As you heard me say before the intro, you're watching or listening to us reflecting on Luton Town 1, Stockport 1, and myself and Jimbo are going to do that over the next hour or so. As always, Jimbo, I've done the instant reaction, and disappointed, deflated, put it all into the same melting pot, and came out with how I was feeling, really. What about yourself 24 hours or so on?
Oh, it's still one that got away, really, because it was there in our hands, and deja vu that changes because we take a lead, play really well, have loads of chances, don't get the second one, and if we don't score 2 goals, we don't win a game at the moment, and because we can't keep them out. And again, they had 2 shots on the whole game, 2 shots, and they still get a goal, and one of them was just a freak cheeky goal. Not that he hadn't done it before though.
No, he has done it before, absolutely. Lots of you pointing that out to us. We were well aware that he'd done it in the semi-final against Doncaster that got them to Wembley the night before that we got there. And ultimately, you know, it was probably the game that, I don't know, if we'll come on to whether it's put the final nail in the coffin later or even if the coffin had any nails left to hammer in, but certainly it didn't help matters, that's for sure. 2 changes to the team sheet at the start of the game, and I think they were surprising ones. Certainly, no Liam Walsh was a massive surprise. I don't think anyone saw that coming. There were no vibes that was coming. That meant that Jordan Clark moved in alongside George Saville, and then Jake Richards being the other change for Izzy Jones being. There must have been 3 changes, mustn't there?
2. There were 2.
Jake Richards came in and
Codger went out, and
Izzy Jones came in and Liam Walsh went out. Yeah. And no one saw the Walsh one coming. Not even on the bench, so we assume that he's injured, but didn't see any information about that. No,
not injured. I asked afterwards what's happened to Liam Walsh. Not injured. It was minutes. They were managing his minutes, his load. It's the phrase that they use. I don't know if that's. I think we've talked about this really, haven't we, in terms of data and stuff, and I'm not sure I'm sold on it, but I understand it's about protecting players. But, with a 2-week break, yeah, wouldn't that be the rest? I mean, they're going to be sent off for a couple of days to themselves, so they can go here, there, and everywhere to see family and friends or whatever. But yeah, that was the reason.
I don't know what to say, Jimbo. I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, to not have him on the bench, is someone seriously telling me that Standout is all of a sudden more elevated and more important than Liam Walsh? I mean, come on now. If they're telling me it, I'm not having a bit of it. And it's people telling me that that Davy Vandenberg's better than Liam Walsh. Come on now. This was the game that potentially was to keep our season alive. There you go, 2 changes anyway. Izzy Jones back in from the cold, and Jake Richards was in there as well. And same formation, same structure. Obviously, Jones went to right wing back where Codge has been playing. Clark went alongside Saville, and Richards went where Clark normally plays alongside Casey Palmer. Devante Cole still up front. And the same back three, Naismith, Dauphin and Longwake, with Emilio Lawrence at left wing back. And we should have been talking, or we should be talking, a hell of a lot more about Emilio Lawrence, because he's got his first senior goal in the game. Once again, he was really good in the game. As I said in the instant reaction, we should be making the most of George Saville's best performance in a Luton shirt. We should be highlighting the good things that Cal Naismith did, which, again, just after the Wickham game, I have absolutely no problem when people put in a positive shift to give them positive raps. But we can't, because we didn't win.
Well, that's ultimately it, isn't it? There was a lot of good performances, and Saville was the standout for me. That was his best performance in a Luton shirt. Should have won Man of the Match award. Somehow it's given to Palmer, who was good, but Saville was here, there and everywhere, blocking things and throwing his body on the line, everything you want from that position. Playing forward as well, which has been one of the bugbears of some of his play. Really positive performance. Cal Naismith, likewise. Obviously, he had his part to play in the goal with a tackle that set up the chance for Emilio Lawrence, although it was mostly his efforts and his quality to do that. But and plenty of good performances, plenty of chances, plenty of good play first half, and then we just we've got this second half problem where it's not always there. I think a couple of games ago we talked about a really good second half, but a lot of the times they come out in the second half, they're just on the back foot totally. And Stockport played some useful football until our final third. Then they didn't offer anything. There was no, Keeley wasn't overworked. We were defended really well, so that was pleasing. And then they still find a way through. The thing is, we got used to the Premier League, or we accepted in the Premier League that we could get punished by world class players. We did frequently get punished by world class players for some mistakes, some half mistakes, some nothing, just genius. And then we went down to the Championship. Like, well, that's gonna level itself out a little bit, and then we got punished again. And we come down to Division 3, and we're still getting punished. Now, whether it's through quality, like Norwood's was, which is still a mistake, but you've got to have the quality to put it in that area of the goal, or whether it's us gifting goals, which is really more par for the course of late, then it's just been 3 years of getting absolutely punished every single time. And right now, we can't keep a goal out for love nor money. So one goal's not going to cut it if you need victories.
No, it's not. As I said in the instant reaction, there should have been so much more in that first half. We should have been going in at least 3-0 to the good. I mean, I don't count every chance as a chance that we should score, but there are certain chances that are better than other chances. And I mean, the first chance that we had in the afternoon, I said it, I don't like calling individuals out for missing because they don't miss on purpose. But when that ball's come over from Casey Palmer and you see that Jordan Clark's on the end of it and hasn't got a move, you're expecting the net to bulge, or at the very least, the absolute giant in goal to make a save. skewed it wider the post, and a ruthless side, a side that wins promotion. You know, as harsh as this sounds, and sometimes you've got to sound harsh, puts that ball in the back of the net without even thinking about it. It's just in.
It's not the first time we've had this problem in recent seasons, in fact. But us being able to score goals seems like we need 5, 6, 7 chances to take one, where consistently with other teams, they don't need that many. They'll take an opportunity. Even in this third division. I mean, Ollie Norwood, let's be honest, is a championship footballer. But it's happened with other teams where they'll punish us, but we pass up chances like that. We pass up other chances that came along later where Clark puts it across the 6-yard box and nobody can get a tap in. And you know, the game before where Clark has a scissor kick volley and it's just out of reach from Cal Naismith at the back post. It's always just out of reach. Everything. Goal scoring, the playoffs. Here we are.
It's like England in Euro 96, isn't it? We were just inches away from being a very good winning side.
Don't remind me. That's 30 years ago.
It's 30 years
ago. You believe that back then we were singing 30 years of hurt?
What a summer it was, though.
60 years of hurt now.
If the summer of 2026 is half as good as that one, we'll enjoy it. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, again, Clark doesn't mean to miss. Of course he doesn't. But teams that get promoted don't miss. When we got promoted, especially in these kind of games where you would think chances are going to be at a premium, actually we created an awful lot more than you would expect us to do against a team of their stature and of their standing in the league table. But in these kind of games, every chance has to be converted. You know, we've seen it throughout the course of the season when we've played against these sides. You know, the Bradfords of this world, they bury it. You know, the Boltons, they bury the chances that they get, and we didn't. And you know, Jimbo's referenced that free kick. I mean, on Tuesday night, it was Liam Walsh who chipped it into Clark for the acrobatic volley that just missed Naismith at the back post. This time, George Saville does exactly the same thing, and you can tell when they're doing it. I'm not going to give the game away just in case someone hasn't scouted it, but there is an absolute telltale sign, and it's all to do with who's hovering around the free kick when it's taken. But yeah, Clark puts it across. Now, I've seen an awful lot of criticism of Devante Cole, Jimbo, and our strikers in general. Now, some of it's merited. I mean, their goal output as a collective unit is, I mean, it's pathetic for a team that's trying to go for promotion. But sometimes the service isn't necessarily there for them. However, a number 9 worth his salt has to be on the end of that. He has flashed across the 6-yard box from a set piece. What are you doing if you're not attacking that? No excuses for Cole not to be on the end of that. A Dauphin less so because he's a centre-back and he's at the back post and it shouldn't get anywhere near there. It should have been buried before it's got it. As a number 9, as a scorer of goals, as a son of one of the greatest goal scorers this country's seen in his generation, how he is not there to bury a tap-in is beyond me. And again, you can make excuses for it, but you really shouldn't, because a team who is getting promoted has to have his striker there for a tap-in. He should be getting 10 of them a season.
It's probably the only chance he's actually had. I mean, he had a shot on Tuesday, but it was the tamest, weakest shot you've ever had in your life. And he played, I worked it out, 444 minutes, one shot on target. One shot at all, really. So then what does that speak to? Does that speak to the service not being right? Probably. But then when the service is right, he's so bang out of practice because he doesn't get it very regularly. That's part of it. Or then he hasn't got that instinct, maybe, to really force that ball over the line. And you just wonder where a goal's going to come from the strikers that we have available. Because obviously Eli was out and is getting tested, so you'd imagine he's going to be some time yet. But he looked rusty anyway, so you can't really pin it all on Eli. All your hopes on Eli. And, Naki Wells looks like he's going to be back after the international break. He's our best bet at the moment because he's the only one that's scored. Al-Hamidi and Cole have not even had a sniff, really. Well, no, actually, Al-Hamidi did have one good chance, but didn't take it. So they haven't got a goal. And that's a really big problem. Every time we've ever got promoted, we've had a striker that scored in the 20s, and we don't have that now. And so it's not going to be solved this season, but that's a massive ask to solve it in the summer, because if you think back to in recent memory, Danny Hilton was the missing link. Really, we had a good team, but he was the ruthless striker that led the team and scored the goals. And then it was Collins when he came in, and then it was Morris when he came in. And now we haven't got that, and that comes at a premium, I guess. And are you willing to pay that premium?
Do you want to get promoted, I guess, is the other side of the coin. Listen, you don't have to spend money, do you? We got Collins on the cheap, and he turned out to be one of our greatest goal scorers. But I mean,
technically he is this century our greatest goal scorer.
Yeah.
By goals per.
It's no surprise, is it? I mean, Lincoln are going to get promoted. They are going to get promoted. They could be promoted in the next match day. Teams don't generally take James Collins to the Championship anymore.
So welcome
home
back.
Home you come. Come on. Home you come, Collie.
And this time, if he ever comes back, give him a song.
He won't come back.
No.
Because, Devante Cole's our striker, and, they're not going to sign a permanent striker for a third transfer window in succession, bearing in mind Jerry Yates is still our striker. They're not going to do it. They won't do it, will they? Because that's accepting that you've got it wrong, or that something is wrong, because... And that's not what they do. And either we have to restructure so that Devante Cole becomes a better player within that structure, or he has to massively improve, or we have to find a youngster. Well, we've got a youngster, but whether he's going to get game time or not, who knows? But Devante Cole's here, and I would be absolutely amazed if they go down the route of signing a third permanent striker in as many fourth permanent striker if you include Lasse Nordos from the one before that. So you got Nordos last January, Jerry Yates in the summer just gone, and Devante Cole in January. They can't keep signing strikers. I know they haven't got the right one, but
well, yeah, I mean, I know this isn't how it works as well, but if I was Lasse Nordos, I'd be saying, please leave me here.
Oh, absolutely,
because he's scored goals, plenty of goals in that division. Now, whether it's a strong enough division that works over here is a different kettle of fish, but it is a top flight division in Europe, and he's scoring goals. So, I don't know if he'll want to come back.
Well, whether he does or he doesn't, he's under contract, isn't he? Or I would imagine he's under contract. It's very, very rare that we sign a player on an 18-month deal. Usually it's 2.5 years when they join in January, so that you get something out of them. In which case, if he is on another year's contract, he has to come back, doesn't he? And then the question is his loan spell out in Holland, has it ticked enough boxes for Jack to trust him? Because he was going on about him not being physical enough or something or other, or aggressive enough. Well, have a look at the ones that you've left behind, Jack. It's like, so yeah, maybe we have to go down that route. But I would be, whoever the striker is, come middle of August, I'd be absolutely amazed if he's come from the outside.
Maybe it shouldn't be what we shouldn't be talking about the striker, whoever the striker is. Maybe it should be the strikers. Well, that's a massive change around in the way they play, but we that's worked a treat for us down the years.
Yeah, it has
two strikers.
It has done, but there's never been an inclination from Jack that he wants to play two strikers. And then when he did try it at Wigan, I mean, it was just, it was almost like they'd only just met each other in the dressing room.
He did say that a partnership of Cole and Adebayo enticed him. When he said that in the last week or so? There's been so many press conferences I can't quite remember, but
after Wickham he said it.
Right, yeah. So that gave a clue that he might be open to it, but Adebayo's doesn't look like he's going to be fit for a while. Well,
he might have been open to it, but neither man started that game against Wickham, let alone be open to it. I'm open to a date with Dua Lipa, but I don't think she's forthcoming either, is she? So, it's
about the fifth time you've
I'm trying
into the world.
I'm trying.
Dua,
for
goodness sake.
She was at the tennis the other day watching Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, what's he got that I haven't? apart from a few million quid and the ability to hit a tennis ball over a net.
Hold on, I've got a list here. Shall I go through each one?
No, please don't. Feeling bad enough about life as it is without that. Let's get back onto the football and let's do that sharpish, because the paper aeroplane nearly had its motors revved up.
Well, yeah, when Katie Palmer hit that shot and it clipped the post.
Yeah, do you know what? That is in until it bounces. I'm right behind that post. It is in. And then I don't know if it's a worm's head or whatever but it's just veered off to the right hand side as he looks at it, left hand side as I looked at it, and clipped the outside of the post with a straight, or maybe he's cut across it slightly, but straight it was in. It's just how's your luck again.
I mean, you could say that we weren't even attempting that a couple of months ago, so it's good that we've got someone that, but we had plenty of shots in the double figures again, all of them on target obviously, but that there's improvement there, but not enough deadly improvement. I mean, the goal was incredible. That shot was fairly good, but ultimately we're not sticking in the onion bag enough.
No, there were shades about that. Excuse me, there were shades about that Doncaster goal in that shot, wasn't there? Other than obviously which side of the post that it went. But the goal was coming. It was absolutely coming. I mean, we were camped in their final third for most of that first half, which is why I really believe that we should have and deserved to win the game. And when it did come, it's an absolute special strike from a player who's rapidly turning into a special little player, to be fair. You asked about Gideon Codger's position in the press conference. This guy is equally as out of position. He is never a wing-back as long as he's got a hole up his backside. But when we get him in and around the penalty box, the opposition penalty box, I said it a few podcasts ago, good things are happening. He got 2 assists prior to this, the Nicky Wells goal at Port Vale and whichever the other one he set up, they were all blending into one. But this time, you referenced it earlier in the podcast, Cal Naismith wins the ball about 30 yards from goal. He gets up, gives it to Emilio Lawrence, who still has lots to do. He's got 3 men descending on him. I mean, he goes past them like they're not there. And then he curls an absolute screamer. I mean, to get it round this goalkeeper, who, I mean, the Jolly Green Giant's looking up on him, isn't he? To get it round him, outside the post and back in again, at the speed that he needed to hit it to get it past him, that's a special strike, Jimbo. That is a special strike.
It was sensational, and we deserved that really for our play. And pleased for him to get that first senior goal. Was always going to be a magic moment. There's a great photo, isn't there, of Jake Richards looking bemused, going, "Oh my goodness!"
That is an absolute perler of a photo.
It's fantastic, yeah, and I think everybody was like that. And it's this thing, though, isn't it? When you get on top, we don't push. It's not that we didn't push for it. That's the thing. We did push for it.
We didn't
have the quality to get it, and that's happened so often. And it wasn't like we weren't creating chances either. So they were there. You don't take them, and we get punished.
Yeah, I think prior to that as well, Hakeem Adoffin had half the crowd cheering, didn't he, for a shot that hit the top of the net. It was always
including me. I thought
you
it was
as well.
Yeah, from where I was sat, including me, I thought that was in.
Spec savers for Jimbo this week. Not in.
It's a trick of the eye, that one.
I mean, for him to get it over that goalkeeper and under the crossbar, he'd have needed some sort of scientific genius to it.
Well, I mean, you may have had a better view of it in the Kenny end, but where I was in the press box, it definitely looked like it was dropping.
Not quickly enough, though, unfortunately. Stockport had one chance in the entire half, and it come from a set piece. And Norwood, this time he crossed the ball to the back stick. I think it was Norwood. Diamond was around that free kick as well. To the back stick, and I think it was 15. Give me his name, Pye.
Ethan Pye, yeah.
Pye
he's the one
got his head on it, and Keeley makes a really good save on the goal line just as about to go. And then some sort of shenanigans happened where he grabbed his leg or something and threw him over or something or other. Well,
it looked like from the save, one of the Luton players celebrated with Keeley and sort of give him a little tap on the chest or a push, and Keeley stepped back from it where Pye was on the ground. So it was completely non-malicious, and he might have got either close to him or slightly stood him a little bit, took a section to that, chipped him up with his foot, helped him over with the arm. It was something out of the Royal Rumble, even if Keeley made a bit of a meal out of it, but I've got no problem with that. It's a bit of he shouldn't have done that, and that's a yellow card for me. He's kicked out at Keighley.
Yeah, not for Bobby Madley. It's all about him, isn't it? Not about the game of football.
But he hacked someone else down or made a pretty serious foul soon after the pie. Still didn't get a yellow card.
Very few yellow cards doing the rounds yesterday, wasn't there? For tackles that actually needed yellow cards. Then half-time came, and you're kind of at half-time, you're kind of like, please don't let those missed chances come back to haunt us. Of course, in the back of all of our minds, when we know we need a second goal, we can't keep a clean sheet. So you kind of hope that we come out for the second half, and we had a right touch actually at half-time because they took their top scorer off, Carl Wilton, who wasn't in the game anyway, but apparently he's got a dead leg. Where he found that, but if you want a dead leg for 3 weeks, fella, you be my guest. But they brought on a muscly, nippy guy who went 2 up top. They completely changed their formation. They went, it looked like a 4-1-3-2 formation. It was with the guy who started at left wing back, Osborne, 23. Ended up in central midfield, and it just freed Norwood up. And as we said in the preview podcast, if Norwood gets away from us, we're in trouble. He started pinging passes around here, there, and everywhere. There was an incident with their right back as well. He went off 2 minutes into the half, which kind of curtailed him. We never seemed to react from either of those 2 subs, really. But yet again, the big chance in the half fell to us with Cowell Naismith's header, and he's done nothing wrong with the header. There's no pace on the cross. He's done really, really well to actually force Adai to make the acrobatic save that he did. But if the keeper's the same height as you and I, we're 2-0 up, Jimbo.
That's kind of the annoyance, isn't it? Because they had all the ball. At one point, they were over 60% possession, Stockport. You said Stockwell again. But they didn't create anything. They were playing in front of us. We were defending really well. And it was just that nagging thought in your mind that, well, this only goes one way and we know what's coming. But then the defence played really well. And then when we went up the other end, it was that chance. And we had the best chance at that point, even though they had all the possession. So, but yeah, I mean, he was never going in with that keeper. He was always going to save it. In fact, I think he probably made a bit more of a meal of it for the cameras. I think he could probably have plucked that out of the sky. He's such a giant, but it's so frustrating because if you get a goal like that on the break, that kills the spirit of a team that's passing it around and trying to build some momentum, which they were until the final pass, the final third, where we just shut them out. And we played really well. We defended really well. We should, again, one of the things we should be talking about here is that how resolute and how strong and how determined we were to throw bodies in the line of fire and barge people out the way and be physical and make them know that they were not going to pass through us. And we still concede a goal.
Yeah, we do. I've seen lots of comments about us sitting back and things like that. This time, at least straight from half-time, I didn't see it this time. We're just tired. And, you can't criticise them for that, really. That was their 11th game in 36 days yesterday. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm the last person to be sympathetic of a footballer having to play too many games of football. But 11 in 36 is a bit extreme. There's no break. There's been no break since, when we were due to play the quarterfinal of the trophy. When they were still messing about whether we was in or out. 10th of February was the last Tuesday night that we've not played, or Tuesday or Wednesday that we've not played. Just ran out of legs as a collective team. Now, I'm not convinced that the people that went off were all out of legs. And that's another matter. And I mentioned it in the instant reaction. I mean, it's the first time Jack's made a substitution that's been booed. Not booed by everyone in the Kenilworth Road. But there were boos to it when Casey Palmer went off. Now, you're going to tell me, I'm sure you're going to tell me that he went off to manage his minutes and all this mumbo-jumbo that we keep hearing. His last action was to sprint 25 yards to put a block in to a guy who was hitting the ball down the line, and he got that block in, and it went out for a throw-in. That ain't someone who's knackered. And like you said about Liam Walsh earlier, he's got 2 weeks off. And if he can't play for Jamaica, me paying to sit in the stands to watch him play for Luton, if he then can't play for Jamaica next week, diddums. because you knew what was coming, because the only time Palmer going off has worked was when he brought a striker on. He brought a striker on, but he brought a striker on for a striker. Well, I think he's a striker. They tell me Ali Al-Hamadi's a striker, but I don't know. If we're spending any more money on him, Jimbo, we deserve everything we get, I tell you, because I ain't seen it. I have not seen a single thing. I thought we were getting a right good striker, because his record at Wimbledon, albeit in League Two, was really, really good. I have not seen a single thing that tells me that he's going to be part of a League One promotion winning side. Which, whether we're this season or next season, that's got to be the aim, right?
He looked rusty in the extreme, didn't he? There was one pass where it seemed a simple cross-field pass, but not in the air to get it across the park and get us moving up the pitch, and he hit it out for a throw-in. But that was one of the standout examples, but that was all over that second half performance in an attacking sense. Whenever we went forward, we couldn't keep the ball, couldn't control it, couldn't pass it to each other, which again has been a major problem of every time we've played badly, can't do those basics. And even though this third tier football, they should be able to do that, because Stockport could do it perfectly well in the second half. You know, everything went to the right person, went to the right space. They controlled it first time, and if they couldn't find anything, they moved it back along. And we didn't have that ability. And so I don't know where you go from talking about players that can't do that can't keep the ball. I don't know, because it's fundamental to how this team wants to play, and they can't do it.
Well, we've got to find people who can. Oh, it's quite simple. You know, we found Casey Palmer. He can do it. Emilio Lawrence can do it. There's two. Okay, it's a 40% success rate in January, isn't it? I don't think that's necessarily all on Jack. I would imagine Emilio Lawrence is very much a Jack signing, because he come from academy football, and that's what Jack knew. And I'm kind of guessing as well that either Jack or Chris knew Casey Palmer from being Chris being in the Championship with him earlier on in the season, or Jack must have crossed paths with him at some point in his life. But I don't know for sure. But I mean, I still can't believe these two foreigners are anything to do with Jack. I can't. Well, and they're not, and they've been of no use to us, Jimbo. I mean, part of the problem that we've got with Al-Hamadi, he joined on deadline day in August, day before deadline day. By the time the full-time whistle went yesterday, he completed 221 minutes of League One football. What was yesterday? 21st of March?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 7 months, 221 minutes of League One football. We've got to stop signing these players. Now, Odoffin's a different case. Well, before people shout at me, he had a health issue, not an injury issue. He had a health issue, and now he's fine. He's racking up the games, no problem. He's clearly not fit. He's got that wrapping around the back of his knee, but he's a warrior, and he's going for it. I don't know what that wrapping's all about, but hopefully the next 2 weeks means that he can get himself sorted out, and he doesn't need that wrapping. But 221 minutes, that's not even 2.5 games of football since the end of August. Now, in those 221 minutes, he's offered, well, just diddly squat, really, hasn't he? And, you know, Van den Berg joined on the last day of the January transfer window. By the full-time whistle yesterday, 196 minutes. He's played 2 games and a quarter of an hour. Standout joined on the same day. Now played 3 minutes of football for Luton, and he's probably racking up fouls at a rate of a foul a minute as well in those 3 minutes. He's hamstrung, isn't he, Jack? You know, these are 3 players of a squad that's a lot lighter now than it was when he inherited it, that are of no use to him. There are others, don't get me wrong. I'm just pointing out the 3 that, because these were the 3 that came on yesterday. The drop-off from what he's got from a first 11 to what he's got on the bench, and some of that is down to him, but the drop-off is way, way, way too big. Now, I'd hoped he'd have realised that and kept Casey Palmer on. We're only talking 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But yet again, he's gone off, we concede.
Yeah, well, it was clear to see. It was only a couple of minutes after that triple sub that Palmer goes off, and there were boos. It was only a small amount of boos, but everybody recognises how good Casey Palmer was. Whether he was that effective in the second half, probably not. But the whole team were diminishing returns in that second half. So
he'd literally just closed the opposition down, though, hadn't he? Stopped an attack for me.
Yeah. No, I get that, but we were on the back foot. So I understand from the point of view of trying to change things up, but I would, on that performance, and listen, we've talked up Jake Richards a lot. He was less effective than Casey Palmer, so you'd probably make that switch, wouldn't you? So,
well, I was having this debate with my sister. I mean, she was absolutely convinced when she saw the three standing on the sidelines that Casey Palmer was going off, and I said to her, "No, I can't believe Casey Palmer's going off. He'll have learned his lesson. Jake Richards hasn't really been involved in this second half. He'll take Jake Richards off." Then the board goes up, and that's when the boos started. He had just lost for words for it. You know, it's 4 times this substitution's happened. 3 times a striker hasn't come on for Casey Palmer. We haven't won the game of football. Now, we weren't winning the game of... Sorry, we were winning the game of football, but we were being pegged back. I get that. But then Jack goes in front of you guys and says that we aimed to counter-attack in the second half. Well, if we're aiming to counter-attack, why is Shaden Morris then your 4th substitution of the afternoon? Because he's the only one on that bench who could counter-attack. Ali Al-Hamadi, I fancy I've got half a chance in a race. Standout, Vandenberg... obviously Codger, but he's gone and played left wing. These were all like-for-like subs. There wasn't a single reaction to what was happening. Codger for Lawrence, Al-Hamadi for Cole, Vandenberg for Palmer, Sandow when he came on for Saville, and Morris came on for Richards. Kind of mini, not like-for-like, but he went and played the same position. We didn't change formation or anything. I don't get it. I do not get it. I mean, if we're playing counter-attack, where are we playing counter-attack? The only guy that, after the first 3 substitutions, that can give you a counter-attack up the pitch are Codger and Jones. Well, like I've said in this formation when we're pegged back, they're on the edge of our penalty box. You don't counter-attack from there.
Yeah, I mean, the Morris one's troubling because he's just dropped off the...
He just can't get in this formation, can he?
They can't get in the formation. He's not played in that. And when you think about when he first arrived and, you know, the first couple of things he did was just bomb it to the byline and get a ball in, which we waxed lyrical about, and he can't get in the side and he can't perform those actions, or it's a troubling one that they've got that player on there, you know, in the squad and they can't get him in. And yeah, the Palmer one didn't make any sense. Going back to Al-Hamadi, I actually understand the signing. You know, I get that people say we can't keep signing injured players. I think clearly now that experiment has been proven true. You're right, we can't keep doing that. But, you know, they explained at the time we wouldn't be able to get near signing that player if he wasn't injured, which is fairly understandable. But again, if you're going to look at that at the end of the season and go, well, that hasn't worked out for us. He did have a good record at Wimbledon, you know, good age profile. And if you could replicate that here in a division that he's been in before, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you? So that it was an understandable signing to make, but I think you've got to then look at that and examine that at the end of the season and go, well, was it? And I think most things would point to probably not. He hasn't done anything in those 212 minutes that would lend himself to being signed, but they've got a deal in place for him to be signed. So is whether that happens, I don't know. Does it have to happen? Or can you look at it and go, well, he's not right for us? We'll never know because we don't know the structure of those deals. But just at the time, I think it was a reasonable gamble to make. And now I think you have to look at it and go, well, probably not.
But they never materialised, Jimbo. Shandon Baptiste's been here best part of 2 years. I doubt he's played 20 games. He's definitely not played 24 games. I mean, you know, one day I'll total him up, but I would be absolutely staggered if he's played cumulative 10 games of football in those 2 years. It's 900 minutes. I just can't see it. Then again, the Adolfin one was different. That was a health issue. Took him longer to come back from than they expected, but that wasn't an injury. And I'm fully confident that this guy by virtue of the fact that he's seemingly playing with an injury, is going to keep on going. That's fine. But when you sign an injured player, when this football club signs an injured player or an injury-prone player, only ends up propping up the treatment table. And that's not just now, that goes right the way back in time. Danny Spiller would be an obvious one from a blast from the past. Did he ever play for Luton? Came with someone else. Did that guy ever play with Luton? You can go even further back to people like Paul Schowler, who was always on the treatment table, to the point where I swear they were going to rename the physio room the Paul Schowler room. It's not a new thing, but that only makes it even worse.
It's an experiment which has now run its course. I don't think you can legitimately say that that's a way that you can get in players just get on a gamble. It's not working, is it? And I am probably in the same way that they're looking further afield than just England to try and get a bit probably more value for money on the signings, which is again understandable, but it's not translating in those players coming over and being able to cut it in the horrible world of the third division of English football. So these are all things I think that have to be examined in the close season.
Well, I mean, we play 23 other teams in this division. I probably count on one hand the amount of foreign players that I've seen in them. They're generally British-based, aren't they, or British-grown. And, I mean, certainly that Lincoln side, the spine of that team's our 2019 champions side. Cardiff likewise come through their academy. Cardiff, these are the two standout pace setters in the division. They haven't gone further afield. They haven't signed from a Dutch league that doing nothing to convince me that it's any good, or a Norwegian league that I know full well isn't any good, save for their champions who are doing really well on the European front, and even they surrendered a 3-0 lead in the Champions League last week. But when Casey Palmer goes off, you kind of feared the worst when it wasn't a striker coming on for him, because this movie's been played too many times. And I mean, look, we haven't conceded because Casey Palmer went off. We've conceded because we're architects to our own downfall. How many times have I sat on this podcast, Jimbo, and pleaded with us to stop giving stupid free kicks away? Because we can't defend the bloody things. Even when they actually come into the box, we had exhibit number 1 in the first half. Back post again. Guy gets a free header. Thankfully, the goalkeeper keeps it out. But no, we have to go and give another stupid free kick away. He is going absolutely nowhere. The only place he's going is down that little gap where the doors are, straight down Beach Road. Going nowhere. For some god unknown reason, Longwake shoves him in the back. Why? Why do it? He's going nowhere.
I mean, stupid free kicks are irritating, but that's not the reason the goal scored. I mean,
no, it's not.
But it gives them but it's not. It's not even an opportunity. I think focusing on that foul is not the thing. That in any other player with any other team, they're just lumping that into the box, and then the way we were defending, we should have got that away.
But it's not any other player in any other team, Jimbo. You and I both referenced that player in the preview. He is the best creative player in this division, and you are offering him up a chance. Forget the fact that he shot.
It's not a chance. It's not from there. It's not a chance.
I tell you when it isn't a chance, Jimbo. It isn't a chance when Matey stood there with his back to our goal, going absolutely nowhere. That's when it's not a chance. It becomes a chance because he's that good when Longwake pushes him over.
It's still not a chance. It's not. You've got a 2-man wall there.
Well, don't get me started on them, because I'm coming on to them in a minute.
But you've got a 2-man wall there, and unfortunately, Josh Keeley has left far too much space, and he's done that before. So either that's not been scouted, or it's not been taken into the equation of how you're going to set up for that free kick. But it's not a chance. This is why it's so frustrating, because probably few other, maybe no other player in that division would score that goal. But the fact that he scored it twice before means you should be ready for it.
But the fact that he scored it, the fact that he scored it before, Jimbo, is why it is a chance. He's done it before. It's not the only people who were surprised were people in orange shirts and poor old Josh. And I don't think Josh was surprised. Now, Josh, listen, he's made a mistake, right? He's left too much space. But if I'm looking at this from Josh Keeley's point of view, first of all, I've stuck 2 men there to block that area, which allows me to be a little bit more to the other side. Now, why do I need to be to the other side? Because every cross that comes into my box, they've got a free header at the back post. So I'm going to edge a little bit to the other side so that when the cross comes in, I'm ready that I can come and claim this and take the pressure off of my defence. And if he does shoot like he shot, and Josh will know that he shot before, because, you know, footballers watch other football games, amazingly enough. He'll have seen what he did against Doncaster. He will have taken his 2-man wall to block that. Now, one member of that 2-man wall jumps to his left, and the other member of that 2-man wall, for some god unknown reason again, decides to turn his back and duck. Now, if you're in a wall, be a wall. If you're not in the wall, then come out of the wall. But if you're in the wall, just stand there and take. Now, it may well have gone over Izzy Jones' head. I don't know. But one thing's for sure is he made sure he got out of the way of it.
Well, no, he didn't jump. It doesn't.
What's he there for then?
But he didn't duck. He didn't jump.
He absolutely turned his back and ducked on that.
He turned his back. He didn't jump. But they're both probably inexcusable for what we're saying about the wall. But I don't think even if he jumps, he's getting anything on that, because Norwood's clipped it far enough over their heads. It's a fantastic strike.
It is unbelievable strike.
Unbelievable strike. It's annoying. It's cheeky as hell. But he's done it before. The mistake lies not in the fact that he fouled, even though you don't want to give those away, or in the fact that whatever the 2-man wall's done. The 2-man wall's ineffective if you strike that so well over the top of their heads, which he has. The mistake, unfortunately, is that there's too much space left on the goal line. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. Keeley has to make sure that he can get across there. I'm not saying that he can't. But why are we giving free kicks away when we can't defend the bloody things?
Yeah, but we have been defending really well.
No, we haven't.
No,
every single free kick.
In this game.
No, but the first half, Jimbo, he had a free header from a free kick in the first half.
Okay.
We haven't. Yeah. We can't defend forget the fact that we're getting better at it. We might be. We cannot defend our box. Every single cross, you and I know where it's going. Tell me the last time someone won a header against Luton at the front post from a cross. You can't, because they all go to the back post. Why do they go to the back post? 80% of the crosses that go to the back post, they win a header. Now, if it goes in, it goes in. Usually the reason it doesn't go in is because Keeley saves it a la in the first half. So he's cheated and he's been caught out. And that's wrong. But again, you don't foul the guy. You don't defend a set piece. You just crack on. And it is a stupid free kick to give away. In much the same way that Millie Alley gave a stupid free kick away in the exact same position, right in front of Jack, against Port Vale, and was never seen again. Now, I'm not advocating Nigel Longwake to never be seen again, although if we sign him at the end of the season as well, I think I'll start to pull what little hair is left on my head out. But you've got to learn. If you cannot defend a set piece, don't give the sodding things away to defend. This is forget the fact this one ended up in the bottom corner in the way that it ended up, Jimbo. As a general rule in 2025-26, we cannot defend a set piece at our back post. So if you can't defend them, don't give the bloody things away, especially when the guy's going nowhere.
Yeah, I think we're agreed on that point. It's a stupid foul, and they irritate the hell out of everyone when a player's going nowhere and you foul. Yes, absolutely. But they happen, and then you've got to defend them. And I'll take your point there that we can't defend them. But there's that phrase that you said, we've got to learn. And I think probably what this season has shown, and where we are in the table shown, and the amount of games we've lost, and the amount of points we've thrown away by going ahead, the fact that we haven't won 3 games on the spin for 11 months, it shows that we aren't learning enough, not just in that area. We aren't learning enough, and we aren't learning quick enough to ensure that the end goal is a possibility. You know, the results weren't as horrible as they could have been yesterday after we played, but we're always just about there. And we got that hope up the last 2 games. And it was only sort of outside hope. I don't want people saying that we were getting carried away. We said all along, I still don't think that we've got enough, but it was hope and it was a chink of light. We're just never good enough to take that extra leap. And when you're playing against a team that's above you and one of the only realistic 2 teams in the 2 spots that you can get to, then you had to win that game, and we haven't won that game.
Yeah, no, that's where the hope was, wasn't it? At 1:30, we were right behind them, and they hadn't looked a particularly great side. In fact, I don't think either of us made the playoffs. Let me just say, on what I saw yesterday, I saw 2 sides whose reputation's better than the football that they were putting out on the football pitch, and I'd be very surprised that both should be in the top 6, and I'd be very surprised if either are in the top 6 come the end of the season, based on what I saw. Thankfully, we are still clinging to a thread, the tiniest of tiniest threads, because of Cal Naismith. Now, he's had an awful lot of criticism this season, me included. But if something does come of the season, then that block in injury time is a massive, massive moment in our season, because it was Reading away, that is, revisited, wasn't it, where we've lost the ball on the edge of their box and they have broke with some serious speed. Now, bearing in mind, Cal Naismith's not the quickest, to get back and make sure that he's there before that guy taps in from that cross, kudos to him. Because, he has been criticised. There's been an awful lot of criticism, an awful lot of questioning about whether he's good enough and things like that. Well, moments like that say that maybe he is. Listen, we need a lot more of those moments and a lot more consistency and a lot less of the dilly-dallying that gets us into trouble. But if something comes of the season, and again, for those of you that still aren't sure what we're saying, we don't think it will, but if something does come of the season, we are only going to get somewhere by a point or goal difference. That is the point that gets us there.
I don't think it's going to be goal difference. I mean,
we're level with them on goal difference.
I know. Yeah, it's remarkable that that they're that many points ahead of us. That I think we've scored 1 more goal than them, conceded 1 more goal than them, with a +3 goal difference.
I mean, it helps that we beat them by 3 at their place, didn't it? That's basically 6 put together.
Yeah. But yeah, again, it just seems too far a leap, just tantalisingly out of reach for us. We can't make that jump to bring teams back into play, and it I think you've got to have a very glass half full to look at this and think that we're gonna reach it. Mathematically, of course, there's an opportunity, and our run-in is probably more favourable than others. But we don't have that consistency. We haven't had it, not just this season. We haven't had it for 11 months. We haven't won 3 games on the spin. And you can't form a promotion campaign on that. You certainly can't be a team that's outside the playoffs and then gate crash it at the last minute, unless you go on a fantastic run. And we've got good home form. The away form's killed us. We've changed that against Wycombe, but the next few away games we have to continue that, and all the signs and all the evidence points to the fact that we haven't and that we won't. So that's probably what led to your deflation. Mine as well, but you did the instant reaction. Deflation was the word, because we had it in our hands then, and they didn't threaten enough to make us think that we were under pressure. We were under scrutiny, but we were holding up to that scrutiny. And again, you give away a cheap goal, and that's it. And at that point, actually, I'm thinking that we were going to go and lose that game, because we've seen that many times where we've conceded the goal and we had nothing going forward, and we were just going to crumble and lose that game. So you're right to highlight Cal Naismith's intervention there to take a point, but it's a point that they'll be far more happy than we will at, because they're there or thereabouts, and we aren't quite.
Yeah, it's a point that doesn't suit anyone. As I say, I don't see either of us making the top six, largely because of what's going to happen the next time we meet in 3 weeks' time. You know, it's just natural for footballers at this level that when Wembley comes around, they're going to have more than one eye on Wembley. They all say that they don't, but, you know, 2 games in 3 days over Easter with a Wembley final on the Sunday, we'll find out who truly wants what. Because playing at Wembley for players at this level, I mean, you know, I've just referenced Cal Naismith, he's never done it, is a big thing. And so, you know, I would imagine that both the Luton and Stockport players, if not intentionally, subconsciously, have an eye on Wembley when we return. Those 2 Easter games, they're nice for us. Peterborough at home, they're definitely not going to sit there and park a bus. They're going to come and attack. Whether that's a good thing or not, time will tell, but at least we're going to see a football match. And then Wimbledon away, obviously Zach Nelson's not playing in that game and he's been contributing to their results recently. But again, with Wembley 6 days later, I think people will be in the back of their minds, this could be my only time to play at Wembley, not getting injured. And that's in both sides. And that's why I don't see either of us getting in the playoffs. The other reason, when we come back, I've just mentioned how we're tired after 11 games in 36 days. Well, we got 8 in 29. When we come back from Good Friday to the end of the season, we're going to drop points somewhere along the line. As they are, they've got an extra game to us. They've got a game in hand of us. Some of them might even have 2 games in hand. God knows when they're playing them. So yeah, I don't see either finishing in the top 6, and we'll be going there again next season. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, me too. I can't see it, and there's plenty of people in the comments to the instant reaction and before actually that are saying that the trophy final is the season now, and it's easy to see why you'd think that. It probably is. Yeah.
It is, yeah, absolutely it is. And listen, we've done the numbers with you guys since January. You know, we didn't do the numbers to look clever or anything like that. We just did the numbers so that we can follow expectations. 21 wins is the minimum amount that a team in the top 6 has got in the last 5 years. Well, we've got to win 6 of our last 7 to get to 21. And as you just referenced, we've not won 3 in a row, which you're going to have to do to get to 6 out of 7 for 11 months. So, yeah, season's all about Wembley. Just before we come on to your comments, George Saville was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Maybe the Saville-Walsh partnership impacts him as much as it impacts Walsh. Because we've seen Walsh shine without Saville, but we've never seen Saville without Walsh. This was the first time yesterday, listen, quite while we're resting Liam Walsh in a game of that magnitude and not even having him on the bench. As I said earlier in the podcast, it makes no sense to me at all. But that's the best George Saville's played in a Luton shirt. Yes, to all of you screaming out the bar's pretty low, but it may well be. But even if the bar was moderately high, it would still have been his best performance in a Luton shirt. He threw himself in front of everything. He didn't, to my eye, he didn't lose a challenge. Put a couple of nice passes in and around the penalty box, and he can deliver from a set piece, which was also getting on my nerves because in the last home game he scored from one, so you don't really want him delivering from one when you've got Jake Richards there, but really good performance.
100% comfortably his best performance in a Luton shirt, and I'm happy with the corners he's taking.
I'm happy with them.
They're very good.
I'm happy with them. They're really, really good. But then I'm looking, and there isn't really any height in the box, and he scored against Reading, and he's only taken them because he's left-footed, which Jake Richards is as well. And I'm looking at Jake Richards, and he's just hovering on the edge of the box. You know, in a game that's going to be tight, where set piece FC's on the pitch, or the level 3 version of it, surely you'd want a bit of height in the box. In terms of his corners, yeah, they're really, really good.
No, they're fantastic, and that's why he's taking them. That's the reason.
What we need him to do is chip one up high enough and slowly enough that he can then leg it into the box and get his head on it as well.
I mean, that's asking a lot for his pace.
Well, I also don't think it's in the rules, but you know, the referees at this level, who knows? They'll probably allow it.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, that's the sort of thing, isn't it? That there was enough there in the first half. Certainly.
That's why I was deflated.
Yeah, there's enough there in the first half firstly to win it, but secondly to be sat here and be having one of those fantastic podcasts that aren't very often, very infrequent, where we can just pick out a handful of players that have been really impressive, and George Savile was one of them. And we're not in that position because we're talking about another soft goal, a missed opportunity, probably what you said at the beginning, is it the final nail in the coffin? It's not quite yet because of the maths, but realistically it is.
It's a long way back from here, and of course it could only get worse next weekend. I think Reading play. I think Stockport might actually play as well. With internationals obviously decimating it. And we've got 5 internationals, and hope all of them come back safe and sound. Congratulations to all 5. Emilio Lawrence, Ali Al-Hamadi, Josh Kearley, Casey Palmer, George Savile. They're all involved in World Cup qualifiers, apart from Emilio Lawrence, who's in an under-21 qualifier for Scotland. So they're all in meaningful matches, and hopefully they come back safe and sound and, don't need their minutes sorting out over Easter. Comments?
Well, you will be unsurprised to know that a lot of your comments out there in the world were to do with the substitutions. So I won't read out every single one of them because they're all fairly similar in terms of questioning what the hell was going on there. But we'll get to those. I'll read them in the order that you sent them in. So JVFC7VP says, what does Jack say at half-time for us to usually come out so much worse? That was another 45-minute performance in a 90-minute match. And how do we get the best out of Cole and Al-Hamadi? It feels like the conference days when we bought strikers and ruined them. I don't know what kind of chances either of those two might thrive off, but they don't thrive off what we currently create. On a positive, though, Naismith had a good game. Which is what we were saying, isn't it? There aren't chances that really, apart from that one that Clark flashed across the line, which you'd want Cole to be super aggressive in trying to convert. There aren't any that you can really count to. We're not creating those chances, which is strange because we've got those wingers that can, and they're not.
Well, we did, didn't we? They're now wing-backs.
Well, yeah.
That's the ironic thing, isn't it? We finally got to a situation where we have to play Devante Cole because Nicky Wells is injured. We've played Nicky Wells in a 4-2-3-1 with 2 wingers alongside him for most of the season. The exact formation that I'm assuming that Devante Cole thrives off of. And then when Cole comes into the team, we go and play 3-4-2-1. And he's got no service whatsoever. So I don't know. I understand that you don't change the team for one person, but your number 9, it's all about putting the ball in the back of the net. He'd be the one I might change the team for. I'll go back to what I said earlier on in the season, Jimbo. I still think Hodge is our best option through the middle now. Especially if you can't get him on the pitch anyway. Might as well play him up front.
Well, funny enough, I did ask Jack this in the pre-match, and we
confirmed to you he's not a wing-back.
Yeah, you said.
Which was nice of him to do. I think we all worked that out.
He said he wasn't quite sure where his best position was, but he thinks it might be centrally. Well, he hasn't played central, funny enough, since he's scored those glut of goals, and he hasn't scored since, and he hasn't been close to scoring since. So,
but he won't play central in this formation, will he? Because Clark and Palmer are there. So yeah, you've got to play wing-back, I'm afraid, kids. Or not at all.
Or up front.
Well,
play him as a foil to a big man. Why not?
Jimbo, you sold me.
Okay. We'll do that then, yeah? Right. Drunk Techno says, we paid the price with all the negative performances going back months. It was if we were more concerned with not losing than actually winning. However, one way or another, the penny seems to have dropped in recent weeks, but it has been a huge opportunity missed in a seriously piss-poor league.
Did you see that we tried to hang on? Did you see that? I mean, there have been times this season, don't get me wrong, where we absolutely have. Burton Albion at home springs to mind. I just saw a team that tired. I didn't see a team that tried to sit on a 1-0 lead. And also you got to give credit to Stockport. They made their substitutions and they looked better for it. Okay, you could argue that we could react to it. Look behind Jack. He's got 3 foreigners who barely graced the football pitch. Morris, who he doesn't trust, and 2 defenders. Codger and a defender. I mean, he's not exactly giving himself the best options to change a game of football around if the opposition changed. But I genuinely thought yesterday, I called it out against Burton that we didn't try and win the game. I called it out against Doncaster that we didn't try and win the game. I genuinely thought yesterday we just tired. We just ran out of steam.
I thought it was partly that. You have to give credit to Stockport that they were good in everything until they got to the edge of the box, and then they weren't, which was good for us. But then again, we would defend him really well. I think that is part of it. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that either. But
there have been occasions where it is right.
There have been, and
just not yesterday. I didn't think
there have been, and that probably contributes to the feeling that it was a bit that we were sort of trying to hang on for it a bit. But Matthew Teasdale 3955 said, I think most fans wouldn't have given us 7 points from 9 after the capitulation when we played Reading and the poor show against Doncaster. I think the points total from this week is good, but probably too little too late for this season. Happy to join Jimbo in eating humble pie at the end of the season though, fingers crossed. So, you and me both, Matthew. I'd love a big old slice of that pie, I tell you.
Don't think about pies for purchasing, Jimbo. I think that pie is well and truly safe in the bakery. Yeah, you're right. So if you said to me going to Wycombe last Saturday, particularly when that team sheet dropped, if you'd said to me we were going to get 7 points from the next 9, I'd have checked to see if there was a 24-hour doctor on the go for you. But yeah, credit to them, they did. Now, this season may be over from a point of getting to the playoffs, but it is not over from a finishing with positivity so that we can take something into next season standpoint. And 7 points from 9, if we can replicate that a couple more times, that'll be good, even if it does leave us short of 6th place.
Now, I said there were a lot of comments about the substitutions, and probably the most succinct one goes to Paul Marsh, 3894, who said simply, you don't control the controllables by substituting the controller.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I met Paul yesterday actually before the game, and no, spot on. Oh no, but it's not so much the sub, is it? It's the how many times it's happened before, and we've gone from winning to not winning, and 3rd time in 4. I mean, you could argue even when he did bring the striker on at Wycombe, we still conceded, albeit it was from a set piece. Funnily enough.
Peter Stevenson 9476 said Norwood has scored the exact same goal 3 times this season, once at Tranmere and then as recently as Donny in the Virtue Trophy semi-final. Unbelievable your coaching team weren't aware, really. I'm guessing he's a Stockport fan, but it's a big mistake to leave that much space and allow him to do that. Yeah, egg on the face, unfortunately. Rico BN7T, this is a fairly lengthy one, says the control of the game was already getting away from us before the subs, and Jack Wilshere had to try something. Having said that, Palmer coming off was a massive mistake, and everyone sat watching knew it too. Our biggest problem today was the lack of anything going forward in the counter-attack during the second half. Stockport had the lion's share of possession, and when we did win it back, it was a ball out to the wing-backs who would run into trouble, or a hopeful ball up to the centre-forward who would lose the duel in the air and give away possession. If we're going to sit deeper, we should have gone to a back 4 and got some pacey wingers on the pitch to run into the space to get 2 strikers on, or hope that they could work off each other. The strikers looked so poor today because they were so isolated. I didn't think Stockport created much either, so it's a shame it was another individual error that has undone us in the end. Good analysis, isn't it?
Absolutely. I had people criticising me when I praised the substitutions against Wycombe, and that's one of the reasons why I praised it, because he put a second striker up, we got up the pitch, and half of the injury time was played in front of the Luton fans who were behind the goal that we were attacking. That wasn't the case yesterday, and you're quite right about the counter-attack. I think I said it earlier in the podcast. You can't counter-attack with wing-backs who are on the edge of your box. So I'll give you an example. There was a free kick in the first half, or a corner in the first half, I can't remember what it was, but Adai caught it, and he was straight to the edge of his box, and he launched a ball down there, right, towards our left-back area, that if Izzy Jones hadn't run across and covered, Guy would have been in. When Keeley catches the ball, or a defender clears the ball, where's that option? It's not there, because we bring everyone back for set pieces, which I'm absolutely convinced is the reason why we can't defend the things, because we're not tall enough yet. We're inviting everyone into our box. Leave 2 or 3 up, they'll leave 3 or 4 back, and then you've got tall man against tall man. But there's no one there to clear the ball to, and when it does, it's just going to come back. Unless we put another striker on, like we did at Wickham. Okay, we didn't have a striker last night, but we could have brought Morris on and played that pacey guy that was mentioned then.
Raj Bundia, 3179, disagrees with your view. Says, I know we don't like seeing Palmer subbed off, but to me, he looked out on his feet in the second half and needed to come off. He looked totally knackered, as did a lot of our players in the second half. It shouldn't be like that. These are professional athletes and get plenty of rest days between matches.
Not recently, though. 11 games in 36 days. There's not much rest time there. The sub isn't the problem. I don't have a problem. Well, I do have a problem with the sub when Palmer isn't knackered, as in just chased 25 yards or whatever to close that guy down as his last action. That didn't tell me he was knackered. The problem is who comes on for him. Because if a defensive player or a non-attacking player comes on for him, then we just end up getting forced back, because the opposition, I've said it many times on this podcast, once the opposition know we're not going in their direction, they'll swamp in our direction. That is the problem. It doesn't matter who comes on for him. Sorry, it doesn't matter that he goes off, it's who comes on for him.
Last 2 of your comments. AJC 8869 says, Jordan Clark is 32, has played 90 minutes in the last 11 games. Palmer is 32. In the last 7 games, he has been subbed off in every one and only played 3 full 90-minute games early on in his Luton tenure. Both are basically all over the pitch. James, please ask Wilshere at the next press conference, why does he take Palmer off every time? Funny enough, I already have. And I'll write that up sometime in this international break.
And what did he say Palmer was?
He said 32. He's
29. Yeah. Which only goes to emphasise your point even more. A 32-year-old Clark. I mean, I was going to bring this up, but I knew that you had this in the comments. I mean, all of this minutes malarkey makes absolutely no sense whilst Jordan Clark plays every minute of every game. 11 games in 36 days, and he's played near enough every minute. I think he got substituted in injury time for one of them. Not buying it, Jimbo. Never bought it. Still not buying it. Especially when there's a 2-week break to come.
Yeah, I think we have the same mind on that point. Last one, Paul Young. I don't think it's that Paul Young.
Could be, though.
It could be, wherever he lays his hat.
Wow,
is his home. Paul Young, 2688. As soon as they pushed a second player further forward through the centre at the start of the second half, the game changed. We didn't react to that and ultimately gave them the ascendancy. For me, still too data-led in terms of subs, i.e. workloads. Yet with all that data and iPads, Norwood scores an identical free kick to the one he scored in the semi-final against Doncaster only 2 weeks ago. Keeley has a history with poor starting positions at free kicks. See last year's playoff final. We still have the same amount of coaches and analysts as we did in the Prem. Does make you wonder what they actually do. Your eyes do not deceive you, and the fact that they all have to huddle around a tablet to check or view it at half time is laughable. Football is a simple game, and League One filth does not get much simpler. Maybe he meant football.
Well, I think he's right with filth. It's a bloody horrible division, isn't it?
Turn up, try hard, take your chances and clear your lines. As we all know, the lack of a proper right back and centre forward suited to the division restricts our formation and ability to change the game, which we should have done in the second half. We stayed the same, like-for-like substitutions, and as good as we were first half, this was undone second half through lack of tactical nous and still no plan B. P.S. The real El Hatigo is now at Wembley in 3 weeks' time, undoubtedly.
Oh, yeah, but can we stop that nonsense again? I said it in the preview. It's not.
No, El Hatigo all the way.
No. All of these L.co's come from Barcelona, Real Madrid. You're watching Stockport or Stockwood, as you want to call them, against Luton. No, an absolute no. On a side point, why did they wear green yesterday? There's something about football kits and green that really gets my back up. As do them fluorescent goalkeeper kits. You need sunglasses on to look at the bloody things.
Well, there's science behind the fluorescent goalkeeper kits.
They don't need floodlights on.
No, it's that it puts the striker off more. Well, you get...
We didn't need to worry about that yesterday, did he?
The giant goalkeeper they've got and that, then, we didn't have to worry about that. But, I'm with you on the other thing. I know it's all commercial, isn't it? That's the reason. But you shouldn't be changing your kit unless there's a kit clash. I mean, I don't agree with it.
I mean, I'd wager they're not wearing green at Wembley, and I hope to God we're not. I think we're the home team, so we'll be wearing orange. But I would wager they'll wear blue at Wembley.
Yeah, exactly. It's purely commercial stuff, isn't it? For me, you wear the kit, your home kit, unless there's a clash. That's it. Yeah,
no, I agree. Absolutely. Oh, well, I think I said it on this podcast, Jimbo. I think we're both of a bygone era that a third kit wouldn't exist anyway. I presume that is their third kit.
Well, no, I don't know about that. I mean, in the 80s, we still had a third kit, but it was like it was there for that one time you played a team that had both of your colours in.
Just home and away for me. Just home and away. Just have your away kit as a different colour to your home kit, and you shouldn't need to worry, should you?
Yeah.
But there you go. Certainly worked perfectly well in the olden days. That's for sure. Yeah, all good, all perfectly fair comments, and yeah, it's something that he needs to improve, isn't it? His in-game strategy, our second halves have to improve. I'd kind of like to think that his plan B will improve when he's got players that can execute a plan B. As I said, he looked behind him yesterday, didn't really see it a lot. I would question why Cohen Bramall wasn't on there when two right wingers were, but apart from that, he didn't have a lot of option, did he? So, and we've got injuries to Wells, who probably would have been useful yesterday, I would wager, if we were taking a striker off. But there we go. Correct scores, Jimbo. There were plenty of them. Phil Oliver, 5118. Phil C, LTFC. Claire Clark, Marky P. T Watts, LTFC, who actually sent me a paper aeroplane.
Oh, this is brilliant, actually. And this is the thing, like all these things that you'd want to talk about, and we don't get to. He sent us a Luton Town Casey Palmer contract paper aeroplane. Perfect.
Brilliant. All it needed was to go on the inside of the post rather than the outside, and it was on its way down to him, but we'll have to wait. Continuing the correct scores, WD I am Lord Yaya, Soulful Hatter, Terry JC 1971 and John Allen 9165 all went 1-1. You'll all get 3 points on the leaderboard, which will come up in our preview to the Easter games, which will be out to you, funnily enough, prior to the Easter games. They're going to be done in one. There's not enough time to get in here and out of here and get it all chopped up to you in between the two Easter games, so we will preview Peterborough and Wimbledon all in one podcast, and we'll review them too all in one podcast as well.
Now, yeah, I mean, if the season is only the trophy, then after that, when we're trying to talk about or think about what we want, we'll be looking at next season, but surely next season we want Casey Palmer to sign the team, don't we? And that paper airplane may come in handy. I'm not advocating you all chuck paper airplanes on the pitch, don't be litterbugs, but it made me chuckle when it came across. I do like it when our listeners send us things. And it's right to shout him out.
Absolutely, yeah. He's got an awful lot of faith in my arm strength and aim, but, let's hope we get the chance to give it a go. In the last podcast, Jimbo, I asked people to send in where they watch or listen to the podcast from, particularly if they're coming over from Wembley, particularly if they're overseas as well, and got a great response to that. John Costin listen to the review. Sorry, the preview of the Stockport. What was it? Review of Exeter, wasn't it? In Florida, but it's usually in Michigan. Second cup of tea travel mainly from Italy. A PDM chap from Montreal. Daniel Gurney 9209 listens to us in Sweden, where when he was listening to us it was -18. Nice and
chilly.
Nice and toasty. Andrew 27 from Brazil. LTFC Quinny's coming over to the final from Ireland. John Conroy listens to us in Los Angeles, and now that's the one, isn't it? A bit of Hollywood. We've made it to Hollywood, Jimbo.
Yes.
It was Oscars last weekend, but we've made it to Hollywood this weekend. Delete Bilderberg from Nevada. That's my scene. That is Las Vegas. That's a bit of me. And finally, Pete Matovic from Melbourne. That's a long way away.
One of those chaps on there has actually watched us in numerous countries. Was it Cup of Tea Travel?
It is, yep.
That was incredible. We've been watched all over the world by that one follower all over. Have you got the list?
No, I haven't. I should have. That is a long list.
It's a very long list. It's all over all over the world. It's a very far-flung places that we've been listening to. So thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone who watches us around the world. And of course, Scandinavian Hatters, I know a lot of them watch us. And they were over yesterday for the game, sponsored the match and the match ball. And always great to have them over. As you can see behind me, we've got their scarf on the wall as well. So always full of support for you guys too. Just before we go, a couple of announcements that I've got to read out. The first one is from Mark Crowther, actually, who we have on the podcast, and that's to do with Talking Hatters. On the 31st of March, which is Tuesday week, he's hosting a special episode of the Talking Hatters at 7 p.m, where he'll be joined by Ben Tunnell, who is the head of commercial at LTFC, to talk about his season at the club and how his career brought him to Luton Town, but also to share his mental health journey and experiences. Ben has got an inspiring story to share, actually. The Zoom will be available half an hour before at 6:30, so if any newcomers want to log on and find out what it's all about, you'll be able to do that. Details of how to join will be shared across the Talking Hatters socials in the next few days, and so that's something a week on Tuesday, 7 p.m, with Ben Tunnell, the commercial guy at Luton. I presume he's got a big screen if he's on Zoom, because he is absolutely massive, isn't he? He's a huge unit, but he is also a good guy, so that'll be good. That is at Talking Hatters on X and on Instagram. He's Hatters Talking, and of course I'll stick all of that on the Supporters Trust website as well. And also, Jimbo, we have been in touch with the club charity of the year, Stepping Stones, who are hosting a prize draw for a signed Luton Town shirt. It's £5 to enter, and the draw will be made sometime in April, middle of April. And really, really important local charity, actually. If you don't know who Stepping Stones are, they're a registered charity that supports women experiencing domestic abuse at the risk of offending or struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. Their aim is to provide a safe and compassionate space where women and their children can begin their journey of healing, empowerment and renewal. At the heart of their approach is the understanding that recovery is not just about leaving the abuse and difficulties behind, but rebuilding their lives with dignity, strength and hope. So that's a really, really key charity, and it's great that the club are behind that. Last year, for example, they helped 350 women and 115 children in Luton and Central Bedfordshire to create a better future for themselves, their family and their community. So that's a big thing. So if you want to enter the prize draw for the signed Luton shirt, it's £5 to enter, and every pound will be gratefully received and put to good use, helping victims of domestic abuse.
Those are some incredible numbers, actually. Fair play to that initiative. Well done.
We'll put the link for how you can join that prize draw in the show notes. And, of course, if you do want to find out more about Stepping Stones, it's steppingstonesluton.org.uk is their website. And if you have suffered from that and you need some help, head to that website, and they will give you all the help that you need.
Can I do a quick announcement?
Of course.
Yep, we've got no football at the weekend of a Luton Persuasion anyway, to get us excited, but there is a live music doubleheader, so putting on my music hat with my Vandalism Begins at Home crew. We've got a double header at the Castle. First night on Friday, March 27th, we've got Luna Rosa, Oscillator and the Relights. Luna Rosa have just released a single that was Track of the Week on BBC Introducing, getting very good rave reviews. And then the following day, on Saturday 28th of March, is a band called TV Face and two local bands who are very good, Gay Lips and Blue Cabs. Not to be missed. I shall be there. I shall be at the bar. Mine's a Murphy's, please.
Is that right? Yeah, no, really good. Support the Luton music scene. And, well, yeah, I mean, we've had Miles Smith doing a little show in town as well, haven't we, recently? So
I went to that.
You did?
Yeah, very good.
You had one job, to invite the guy on the podcast. You stood and listened to him and didn't invite him on the podcast. Why I send this guy across to do these things?
Couldn't get near him. He's an Arsenal fan anyway, isn't he? He was at Kenilworth Road after that, though.
I don't know. One job, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, there it is. And of course, this week on this Monday night, we've got the Solid event. So those of you that have got tickets for that, I will see you there. And if you have a ticket to the Meet the Manager night on Tuesday, enjoy the evening. Hopefully Jack gets to speak this time, unlike the last one where it was where Matt got to speak about every 5 minutes. And I'm sure you'll get lots of good insights from a guy who is a lot more charismatic than he comes across in interviews. So, and Chris Powell, I believe, is there as well. So he's very, very good, isn't he? So that should be a good night for those of you that have got tickets to that. We will get some sort of content out to you next weekend on the Monday morning, as always. And then the preview to that Easter doubleheader will be out to you either Wednesday or Thursday. And then the review of that will be out the following Wednesday when we've had a chance to review the two games. And then we'll get a full preview out to you ahead of Wembley, and we might be collaborating with the Stockport podcast with regards to that as well. So lots of content to come, but thankfully from our point of view, not as frequently as it has done over the last month, Jimbo, because I've seen enough of you, to be honest.
More than that, isn't it? It goes back till February, which is a non-stop, bloody 3 games a week.
And I think the guys here at Marsh House would be quite happy with a week without us as well.
I miss those cups of tea, though.
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. Thanks to Donna and everyone here at Marsh House, the home of the Luton Town Sports Trust podcast, and to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music. Until, well, Easter comes along, from Jimbo and myself, come on, you atters.